everyone, it's Sarah from Rose's Little Posies, and today I'm going to talk about vase size. And the reason why I wanted to talk about vase size is because I have a wedding coming up this weekend where I have 3 different sizes of vases being used for the centerpieces, and these are super cute. The bride actually picked up some vases and coated them in what looks like plaster, so then they all look the same. But I do have 3 different sizes of vases here. And with her, I did work with her on, when we met, showing her how wide the top of the opening has to be. And these all have water in them, but they all have almost the same size opening. It's about 3 inches or so. And the reason why that matters is this. Only so many flowers fit in your opening of your vase. And the shape of your vase determines how big your arrangement is. So usually I work with the 50-50 rule. So this one, being this high, needs an arrangement that's about this high. If I go shorter, it's going to look funny. So sometimes if you've done this at home and your arrangement looks a little bit off, sometimes it's because the ratio of your vase to your flower height is off. So obviously these little guys are going to be a little bit different. Now the fun thing is, I'm going to use the same amount of flowers in each vase. And I've already processed my greens and my flowers down to the point where I can work with them now. But the formula was this, for these particular vases. We have Playa Blanca roses, beautiful shade of white, and they're all processed and ready to go. I've taken off all the guard petals. There is an antique pink carnation for each one, and then there's these beautiful dusty pink cappuccino spray roses to use too. And then we also have some white lisianthus, some white waxflower, and bunny tails. Super cute. For the greens, this is Italian ruscus. It's very nice because it's bendable, so you can do lots of different funny things with ruscus. You can also cut it up into lots of pieces. It's nice and flowy. And I have it broken down into some smaller pieces to use, but this is actually 3 pieces right here, 1 per vase. And because of the greens, we might end up using a little bit less in the smaller ones, but they're still going to have the right ratios. So here's how vase size makes a difference. So we always start with our greens vase. And for this taller one, like I said, I want to have double the height. So I'm going to cut this one down to show you. I'm going to go down here to knuckle. And then one of the reasons why I suggest people to not have someone DIY these is just because when I go through and I process these greens, I am saving all these little bits and pieces to use in other things. And what you can't see down here is I have 2 buckets. I have one for bits and pieces. The bits and pieces are going to be used for corsages, boutonnieres, and in this case, I'm going to be doing a 2-part installation. And I'm going to save these little tiny pieces for that. And that kind of runs, eliminates my waste a little bit more. So my second bucket is my worm bucket. That's going to be my actual compost. It's going to be single leaves, the bits of stems that I can't use. So I'm going to green in all these vases. And I'm going to use the longer pieces on the taller one. And then for these smaller ones, I actually have a couple different mechanics going on here, and this one's too long because it's flopping out. With this little tiny one, I actually have a little piece of chicken wire down in there because I was afraid of the flowers pulling out. And the chicken wire is going to help hold things in place. And then again, all of these pieces have been processed where I've made sure that I've pulled off any spotted leaves, anything that doesn't look good, anything that's been maybe eaten by a bug, because these things don't come to me perfect. So these leaves are also clean. My last batch of ruscus was actually quite dirty, and it's totally fine. I just had to, it can't just be rinsed. I had to use leaf shine on it, and that's just a spray. It's like a vegetable-based spray that makes the leaves shiny, and then they don't look dirty anymore. So I've got my greens base. I'm actually using a little bit less than I anticipated, so that's cool. probably 2 stems from going here on out. And now I've got my base. And this one, like I said, has chicken wire. The chicken wire has just those little hexagon pieces in here, and they keep the greens from flopping out. Next I'm going to go in with my filler. And again, I have this trimmed down. And I think I may actually add a little piece of this in here, just to kind of flesh out this shape. Now this one being taller with a narrower top, it's going to change the aesthetic just a little bit. So we're going to tuck these in here. And again, this is the same amount of flowers in each one, where this vase, each one gets 1 piece of wax flower. And I've just already processed the wax flower down into smaller, more manageable pieces. So this one gets shorter stems. I'm cleaning off any greens that are going to go in the water, because any greens that go in the water are going to cause your water quality to go bad, and that's going to kill your flowers. So we clean off those pieces when we put them in. And then again, this one's smaller, so we're going to go even shorter on the stem length. And just kind of tuck that design right down in there so that my ratio of vase to flowers is going to be maintained. I'm actually going to borrow a little bit from here to tuck in the front here. Okay. It's pretty exciting. I actually purchased a really nice table that has a slide out trash can, so that the next time I do weddings after July, because I think this table's coming in the first week of August, I'll be able to brush my compost directly into the trash can. And as silly as it sounds, that's really exciting. So I'm excited to get that in, and I won't have to work on a folding table anymore. So again, each of these vases gets 3 roses. Love these Playa Blancas. They have the most full centers. When they start to open more, they are so pretty. And again, shorter stems, tuck them in. Because obviously if I put this long of a stem in here, it's going to flop right out, isn't it? Shorter. And I do try to tell the mothers of the brides and grooms that, you know, you could save money by doing the centerpieces yourself, especially if they're just a bud vase with a little bit of greens and filler in them. But I can guarantee you, almost guarantee you at least, that when I do these, they're going to be just so much faster, just because I do them by the thousands every year. And on the day of your daughter or your daughter-in-law's or son's wedding, you just don't want to be worrying about putting together these centerpieces. And this is just 3 of hers. This is just a total of 15 that I'll be putting together. So normally I would actually do one size all at once, but because I really wanted to do this video just to show what goes into these, I decided to just do these 3 separately. So these are the cappuccino spray roses. This guy needs to go just a little bit shorter. It's just a great color, kind of that dusty pink. And they come in a cluster, so usually I would put these in before I put in the focal flowers or the roses, but wasn't thinking today. So this one I'm actually going to cut apart into 2 little pieces. so that I can tuck it down farther in. And that adds just a touch of pink. It's not a pink pink, it's just got a tiny touch of tan to it. Very popular right now. And I'm going along and cutting off into little bits and pieces that need to come off of there, cleaning things up. Snug them down in there. Okay, so there's those. Cleaning off my greens that are going to go into the water. I actually want to bring this one down lower because I just want the roses to be the primary focal flower in these. Carnations are pretty, but we want the roses to shine. Let me tuck that down in there. Then we have some lisianthus. This is just 3 stems of lisianthus. This one's too tall. We're going to use them in here. Taller stems can go into here. Too tall. And again, I'm zipping right along in here. Part of that's because these have all been processed ahead of time. Okay, and then last but not least, we've got our bunny tails. Tried growing these. They weren't super successful. They kind of had a little bit shorter stems, and it's just one of those things that since they're dry, and these happen to be bleached as well. They usually come a little bit darker brown than this. There's something that I just decided that are worth me just picking up and buying. So for weddings, I could use some of my flowers that I grow myself, but I don't take risks with that. I want everything to be ready when I need it for weddings. So I do order in from a wholesaler, Kennicott's, what flowers I need. And that's usually where I have brides meet me too, just to look over at flowers and see what they like, what they don't like. And it's just so much better if you're transparent with me about how you're doing your decor at your wedding, not just the flowers, but what else do you have going on? Tell me, because I can usually help you get things either cheaper, or I can tell you how much it would cost to have me do them for you. I can tell you how much time it takes to put these together. You know, how much time are you really going to have before your wedding to put together your centerpieces. I'm just thinking of myself on my wedding day, and I was writing a letter to my husband and copying it down. Actually, I typed it out first, and it took me 3 hours to write this letter out, handwriting, and we started my ceremony like a good hour late because of it and other reasons, but anyway, you just don't want to do that. And if there's noise in the background, it's because Penelope just came and joined me. But here's my 3 centerpieces. Like I said, I have 15 total of these to do. And it's just a good example of how you can use the same flowers to create 3 different looks. How knowing how long to cut the stems really does make a difference. And let me do it for you. It's just so much easier to be able to have these all done and looking the way that we want them to. They'll match your bouquets better that way. And It's just so worth it to not have to worry about this kind of stuff if you don't have to. So just be open, transparent about what you need on your wedding day. Thank you all for watching. I have no idea where my camera's pointing right now, but hopefully my bride this weekend loves her flowers. Thanks for watching.